morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to twitch.tv/Ice Cream Plus. My name is Graham Day. Welcome in. How is everyone doing on this rather miserable day? Is it grim where everyone else is? It's cold, wet, grey, and raining where I am. But it's still good. We've still got loads of news for you this morning. My name is Graham Day, and I'm joined by the man that we call I'll read it.
You may see a surprised look on my face because I've just seen some news, not gaming related. However, this is massive news.
Okay.
Wolves have just signed Nelson Semedo from Barcelona.
How the feck?
Real deal, mate. Wolves have signed Semedo.
How does that happen?
I have no idea.
Sunny up here, but your audio is the mic doing that shit again. Okay, give us back in 1 second. Just hold out.
Happening to fish in his stream yesterday. He mentioned it, and I said we're having the same problems.
Okay, is it fixed now? Hopefully it's fixed, actually. Let me unmute on my test side here. Okay, is it... Yeah, there we go. It's good, it's good. Don't know what it is. I thought I'd found the source of it. I thought it was a Hertz issue in Streamlabs, but it's clearly not. I've seen a few people having it. There's something, I don't know what it is, but there is something that's at fault in there. Bib just saying, as we're off then, that Fish was having the same sort of thing yesterday. So fuck knows what it is, but restarting Streamlabs just makes it work. So there you go. So all I did was just restart the scene collection. But there, so it's more like, it's weird as well. Sometimes it goes like, it's like I'm speaking through a fan, whereas sometimes it's just like volume, and it's like stupidly loud stuff. Degnan says, audio's still bad on my end. You still sound like an English. An English what? An English what? Fuck you. Sorry, I just got a little bit stuck in my throat. It's gone now, there we go. But anyway, good morning. I was in the middle of just looking at fucking Nelson Semedo has just joined Wolves. That is ridiculous. Is it alone or is it full?
It says Wolves have completed the signing of Nelson Semedo from Barcelona. Now they're just one transfer away from having a full Portuguese starting 11.
3-year deal for 29 million. Fuck off. How? See, this is a permanent 30 million I full. That's ridiculous. GG Wolves. I mean, yeah. Do you know what? They're actually doing bits. I mean, their Portuguese shirt is class. It's really good. It's really good. I was when it was announced. We were loading up for the scoop, and I was in Bateson's stream, and Bateson's like, "Fuck it, it's gutting," because like if it was a lower league team, I wouldn't mind buying it because obviously Bateson's got pretty much any international football shirt or whatever anyway. And I was like, "See, I won't even go that far, apart from Huddersfield and maybe Salford, because obviously I live in Salford." That's acceptable, but anything else, I wouldn't buy another English team shirt. I'd buy any Italian team, any Spanish, any French, whatever. But that Wolves shirt, I'm just like, can I not just say it's a Portugal shirt? It's fine.
Maybe Portugal may bring out who Wolves sponsored by?
It's a bet. Is it ManBet? Wolves shirt.
They are Adidas.
ManBet. Oh, in terms of kit manufacturer, okay.
Yeah. So who is Nike in it that Portugal have as their kit manufacturer? Yeah. So you can't even like. Hopefully they'll bring out a third shirt or something that's exactly the same as the Wolves third one, but with a Portugal badge in it for you to be able to buy. But yeah, it's a mighty fine shirt.
If anyone hasn't seen it, I'll bring it on screen. Complete off on tangent, but this is the Wolves shirt that's absolutely just Portugal. It's just a Portuguese shirt. And that ManBet logo, does anyone else get subliminal McDonald's messaging from the ManBet shirt? Like, just in the middle of the logo, is that not a McDonald's sign? Or is that just me because I've, like, a strange, like, fetish for burgers? It's strange.
Surely another team in the world because all Adidas and Nike do is just copy the template and just give it to somebody else. So surely there is another team in the world that has that kit with a different badge on it, and DHgate is just waiting to take my order.
Maybe. So if you see Bibby full on I don't know, like Poznan, whatever, fuck knows, another football team, then you know that's where it's come from. That's where it's come. Full on DHgate to the tits. Do you know what? We should get ice cream in, get ice cream fashion. Well, that could be the ice cream away shirt. We'll have a purpley like the normal ice cream jersey over here as first kit, third kit, fourth kit could be a full on.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, there you go. There we go. We'll make it happen. But anyway, good morning, everyone. Welcome in here. Enough of the football talk. Just obviously went on a tangent because Nelson Semedo has just been bought by Wolves, who just bizarrely just rinsing Barcelona. I mean, I say rinsing. There was a comment where Ad says he's not that great, to be honest. Do you know what? I think he could be, though. I think he still could be. He's still got a few years left in his tank. He's not the youngest player in the world. I always think he's like 19, but he's like 24, 25, something like that. So he's probably got 5 years
26.
Is he 26? Yeah, 4 or 5 years, something like that left on him then. Because his game is based entirely around the fact that he's rapid. But by the time, obviously, he hits 30, 31, his pace is starting to go. It's all about situation and positional awareness then. So being a fullback is a hard thing to maintain later on in the career. But he's still got the potential there. If they can turn him into a ball player as opposed to just a speed merchant, then it could be a big signing. But I mean, he was good enough to get on Barcelona's radar. That shows you that there's something there. He wasn't good enough to fit in that team, in that system, but that system's been a bit on the wane. So yeah. Anyway. Just to give you guys an update, my name is Graham. You know that, right? This is Bib. Nice. You can tell because it says our names just below our faces there. Nice. Anyway, we together are Ice Cream Uploads, and in true ice creamy fashion, this is The Scoop, which is your daily dose of news from the world of video games and beyond. And some may say this is the UK's #1 video game podcast, and we would fully agree because we are those people. But anyway, we're going to give you our thoughts and impressions on the biggest, the best, and the breaking stories from the world of video games. And we want your thoughts and impressions in return. So if you're in the chat live on twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads, please feel free to get involved, as you all have done already. Firstly, shouting at me because the audio was crackly. And then secondly, telling me that Nelson Semedo is actually not a bargain rate. I mean, I'd take him for 29 million. I support United. We have to pay 60 million just to get someone that's half decent. But anyway, I say half decent. I mean, half decent. That's what I don't mean. Anyway, you get what I'm saying. Anyway, if you are in the chat, please feel free to get enrolled. We turn this into an on-demand podcast, a video that goes on YouTube, and an audio podcast. An audio podcast that goes on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, and Google Play. So if you're in the chat, please get involved on behalf of everyone that's listening and watching on demand later on. And that's enough, hopefully, of the Scatman. Although that's like 3 or 4 times I've already cocked up this morning, so I expect a lot more of that as the day goes on. It just is what it is. We are back at home as well. So for those of you that may have tuned in yesterday, we were back in the studio for the first time, for the Scoop at least. We're back in the studio for the first time in about 6 months, maybe long. So yeah, it's nice to have the studio back. I'm not sold on it yet though. I'm not sold on it because for those of you that don't know, we are in our home setups now. So this is my home setup with the Doom helmet behind me. There's Bibby's home setup with Sonic the Hedgehog behind him. Yeah, nice. We do have a big, beautiful, sexy studio in the office that we usually stream from, or if we do any of our bigger events, that's usually where it's done from. But we kind of had to rip up the script for that because of COVID and social distancing. We need to be 2 meters apart or a meter apart or whatever the distance was apart. We are apart. So we have and I'm going to use air quotes, comfy chairs. I mean, I suppose they are comfy chairs, but they kind of aren't for that sort of long, short, and as we were talking yesterday, they're not the most flattering positions of chairs either. We end up sitting there looking like flumps. I mean, I've got bad posture anyway, so I don't need a chair that's going to squash me down. So whilst it's nice to be back in the studio, we're not using it to its full potential. So we'll still be doing that on Tuesdays as we move forward, but obviously around that we will have additional content from home. Well, I say we'll be doing it on Tuesdays. I mean, we'll watch this space. I mean, Boris yesterday saying things might change. The content will still be coming, guarantee you that. But whether it's in the studio, since you've got some bad posture, okay. I'll sit up. Anyway, enough of the posture, enough of the studio talk. Let's get into the news, because there was some interesting things happening, and that's kind of good. I mean, a couple of months ago, we were occasionally going, do you know what? There's not really much to talk about. We're gonna have to pad things out. For the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks, we've had more stories than we can fit in. We hardly even spoke about the Nintendo Mini Direct. Tokyo Game Show starts imminently, lasting through to the end of the weekend. We've not even mentioned anything about that in the build-up to that. Excuse me. And we still have 5-ish articles to go through today, so we'll try to fly through it, but there is a lot to discuss. But the main thing that we're going to start off with, because we've been hammering this message for quite a while. For those of you that are interested in buying a next-gen console, one of the consoles is very simple to understand where it sits in that console family. How does that tie into the next one? You had the PS4, you now have the PS5. Okay, well that's easy enough for mums and dads and whoever to understand. If you're not a gamer, you know what the next one is. The Xbox situation isn't necessarily as clear cut. We've said that all along. A number of people going, yeah, but people will figure it out. People will understand. If people going into game, then the people in game will tell them what they need to buy. I mean, yeah, probably. But the issue we have at the moment is we're in a digital world, because nobody can really go out into game, or they shouldn't if they don't have to, which means that people are using websites like Amazon, which leads to this situation. Amazon's Xbox One X sales rank was up 750% following the Series X pre-orders. So just to confirm that, the Series X is the new console. I'm assuming we all know, but just for clarity, Series X is the new console. The One X is the old console. The Series X came out yesterday, and the One X sales went up 750%. That's not confused people at all, is it? No. So Andy Robinson for VGC says that key industry figures have criticised Xbox's next-gen naming convention for its similarity. I mean, they've been doing that for a while, but now we have numerical evidence to back up the fact that it's a ridiculous naming convention. But Amazon is reporting a significant increase in the sales rank of Microsoft's current-gen Xbox One X console across the day pre-orders for the next-gen Series X and S opened. According to the website's Movers and Shakers page, One X sales were at one point up 747% compared to the day before, with a sales rank of 317 compared to 1,685 yesterday. Amazon's Movers and Shakers page compares the biggest improvements in unit sales over the past 24 hours as opposed to the bestseller listings, which show products that have received the most individual orders over a longer period of time. So the Movers and the Shakers data is useful for seeing real-time increases in popularity, but is not necessarily indicative of a significant number of actual sales. It's possible that the Xbox One X sales could increase could be down to marketing around the new console and consumers deciding to enter the platform's ecosystem via the current-gen hardware. However, it could also be due to confusion. And then there's an embedded tweet there from Andrew Alerts. This is kind of where the whole story kind of kicked off. So Xbox's next-gen naming convention had been criticised by key industry figures, i.e. those at Ice Cream Uploads, for its similarity to previous generation consoles, which are still in the market. Earlier this month, the Xbox Series S announcement caused One X to trend on Twitter, with combined mentions of Xbox One S, Xbox One S, Series S, and Series X. Nuclear Throne developer Rami Ismail shared the trending topic and said it was proof of the confusing naming convention. For the folks arguing last week that Xbox's naming is absolutely not confusing and everybody calls it Xbox Series X and Xbox Series S, and the game developers who trip up are incompetent, this was the immediate trending response to the Xbox Series S and Xbox Series X announcements, he said. Shahid Ahmad, even, who spent a decade at PlayStation, most recently in the role of director for strategic content, also said he thought the naming convention was confusing. Obviously, I'm biased, but I find the Xbox nomenclature confusing, he wrote. With PlayStation, I know if I buy a PS5 that it's going to be a generational leap over the PS4. If I buy an Xbox Series S, though, where does that sit and what am I missing out on by not getting a Series X? And if I'm a bit confused, imagine the average punter. And if I'm a bit confused, imagine the average punter. There's something to be said for a simplified product line and a straightforward pricing strategy. Gamer Network's head of games B2B, Christopher Dring, told VGC he believed the confusion around Xbox's naming structure was ultimately temporary and part of the company's transition to a new model. Microsoft is moving its games business into a new service-based era, and you'll be able to access that service either via xCloud PC or its two console lines, the high-end X device and the lower-end S product. It's a model that has existed in the console space before, and it's something that has worked very well in the smartphone market, he said. The confusion comes when you throw Xbox One and its various editions into the mix. Combine that with all the different subscription offerings, and the consumer needs to do a lot of work to decipher what's on offer. It's certainly a big ask. A big task for the Xbox marketing team, which has been proactive all year in trying to explain its vision. Yes, as the months roll on, as Microsoft's offering becomes more obvious and Xbox One begins to disappear from shelves, the proposition will become clearer, and I expect going forward, Microsoft will simply continue iterating on those X and S console lines, and there will be no traditional next-generation upgrade beyond this point. In December 2019, Microsoft indicated that it intended to simplify the Xbox product line by calling its next-generation console simply Xbox. The name we're carrying forward to the next generation is simply Xbox, Microsoft representative told Business Insider. Similar to what fans have seen with the previous generations, the name Xbox Series X allows room for additional consoles in the future, the Microsoft soft rep told us. Not confusing whatsoever. Babe.
So much in a, there's so much to take in. Right. Start from the top, Graham.
Let's go.
Everybody in the video game world that's interested in playing video games or wanted to own a console knows that these were stupid fucking names. Why did they decide to call the consoles something similar to what was previously there, or in fact numbering their consoles after their third foray into the market? Xbox One should not be your third console in the market. It's only going to get more confusing from there on in. They had some cool names that was being battered around before these actually got announced. We had Scarlet and Lockhart, two perfectly good names. You know straight away which one's which. Therefore, the naming conventions are unique. Different SKUs, well away from everything else that's previously been put out there. They also said in the end of that statement that it won't matter when they stop making then they stop producing and putting on the shelves the older consoles. Of course, it's not going to matter because they're going to become irrelevant. However, the naming convention is still relevant. Like we've not stopped talking about the PlayStation 1, 2, and 3 because they're not on shelves anymore. They're always going to be there because there were consoles that came out that we had and we played and we enjoyed. There was games that got developed for them. It's not as if we're going to forget them. So they're trying to cover up their own mistakes by saying that it's going to become irrelevant. It won't matter as we go along. It's stupid. I don't know if they've realised that they've made their own mistakes and they're just trying to cover over it. But anyone who's a consumer of these products will just realise that it's so dumb and they could have done so much better to be able to market these games. It's not a coincidence that the sales of the Xbox One X are 750% up because it's parents that are buying the console for their children. The biggest market for these video games is parents these consoles is parents buying them for their children or for their teenagers that haven't got a job yet. Do you know what I mean? So
and you add a little bit of panic into that. Yeah, add a little bit of panic. Add some panic into that. I mean, last week we were all struggling to get consoles, and Bibby wasn't asked about getting a PS5 whatsoever. You know, just didn't even care that he didn't have. And I was like, yeah. But like, add that panic to a parent that doesn't know what they're doing. Yeah, there's an Xbox there. I'll buy it. Yeah, it's the X he wanted. Yeah, buy. And it's like sat there like once again going back to that meme of the chairman walking into the dressing room like, yeah. Kids are all like, yeah. Dad whips out the phone and goes, got it in the bag. He's like, yeah. What? That's not what I wanted. And Dad's like, fuck. I wonder how many consoles are being refunded today. Like, don't want that.
Willis said in the group this morning, he went, so many parents have just ruined their kids' Christmas before it's even happened. Don't know what all the fuss was about. I ordered my Xbox very easy. Got mine on next day delivery too before it's even due out. Do you know what I mean? It's absolutely no coincidence that the sales are up for the Xbox One X. It's I honestly don't know what to say. They've shot. I don't want to say they've shot themselves in the foot, but they just marketed it so bad. Like, who's making these decisions? Like, they need to. I don't know. Again, it's absolutely no coincidence that this is happening. It's no coincidence that there will be a lot of refunds put on these. It's absolutely no coincidence that there's going to be a lot of disappointed kids. Again, we are the minority when it comes to buying consoles because we're buying them for ourselves or your wives, in my instance. Sorry, wife. I haven't got more than one.
Oh,
Maybe your one's give me an Xbox One XXXX Series X Lockhart Scarlet.
box one Xbox One X Series S box Series Super Series box one. See, that's it. That's it. I mean, the article, like the bit within there saying that it will make sense going forward, like quoting Chris String, and what Chris String is saying makes sense. X and S is a good differentiator. So X is the good one, and the S is the not as good one, and it does work with smartphones. You've got like the iPhone 10, and then the iPhone 10s, and then there's the 10s Max. I mean, it works with smartphones. Still confusing as fuck. The issue though, that Xbox has is like the 10, the 10s, the 10s Max, and so on. 10 is a number that gets gone. They don't keep 10 next year. So like, it's that's something that people can see as series, like. That 10 is a number in a series. 10 goes to 11. 11 goes to 12. Okay, I understand one new number supersedes another. Does adding a 1 in there, which is a number but written as a word, okay, well, that's mid in the middle of a series. So we've gone from the 360 to 1. So, okay, you've gone from numbers, which were just... Why 360? Okay, we've gone from a round number, literally, to a 1, which is written. Okay, the next number in the series is now... Okay, the number in the series isn't a number, it's actually the word series. So the series continues with series. We've gone from 1 to series. Even just saying it out loud to myself is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. So I understand the logic. Calling it, having like an Xbox... Okay, I'm going to start higher up the numbers so it doesn't get... Say we were on the Xbox 10 last year. This new one is the Xbox 11. If you had the 10S and the 10X and the 11S and the 11X and the 12S and the 12X, that's structure. That's things that people can move forward. Okay, the 11 and the 12 and the 13 and whatever, that's the series of console that we're in, and the S and the X is the version of it. That makes sense. But having 360 and then 1 and then series and why? I mean,
here's a naming convention for you, right? Are you ready for this?
Y'all ready for this?
I was about to bring out 2 consoles, right? The PlayStation 5, that's one, and the PlayStation 5 digital.
What? No, that's not gonna work. Not gonna work. You're pretty much, with the level of simplicity there, calling me an idiot. So I'm not interested in that. You're acting as if I don't understand how... I mean, you're acting as if I can't tell the difference between an Xbox One Xbox boxed Series S Super One 360 equivalent digital upgrade Scarlet Lockhart and Box One S box. I mean, whatever. No.
Yeah, people will think that we're being harsh on them, but the harsh reality is we're not the only ones that think this is clearly fucking stupid. Because there is stupid people well, it's not even stupid people. There is people out there that have clearly bought the wrong console. Your website, your stock doesn't go up by 750% of an already established SKU. If 1, it's not in demand, and 2, it's marketed incorrectly.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. Like, it's not as if we're like taking the piss just for taking the piss sake. It's a wrong thing to do. In my eyes, it's always been, ever since the 360 came out, I think it's gone backwards, and it's all because, in my personal opinion, they did not want them to be behind. In terms of alongside the PlayStation, because the PlayStation would have been on the PlayStation 3 by then, and the Xbox didn't want to call theirs the Xbox 2 because it would be like a generation behind in terms of numbers. Yeah, you would have been in terms of what the console's called, but you could have just called it something unique. So going forward, there is absolutely no way that you can get this confused. Like, for me, I mentioned it before, the Scarlet and Lockhart names that was being batted around before the naming conventions got released would have been perfect. You would have known that console 10 years ahead of time. In 10 years' time, you'll be referring to this console as the Xbox Lockhart and Scarlet, and you'll know exactly which one you mean, rather than calling it something very, very, very similar and not knowing what console is which. Because there is going to be people out there who are not technological minded. I mean, we are, but we still manage to get these wrong. So imagine that as a parent, your kid says, I want the brand new Xbox, and they go, okay, go to the shop, buy the wrong console. Kid comes back, says it's the wrong console, and the parent then wonders why it was £150 cheaper than it should have been. It's someone in the marketing department needs to have set of bollocks and just say this is wrong.
Yeah,
Because
the thing is, I mean, I'm seeing people saying, well, they're still selling shitloads of consoles, so they're really, they're still quids in, so they're not really lost. It's quite clever, really. And I'm thinking, nah, okay, if you're interested in duping someone into a sale now, then you're not interested in someone later on. So whilst Microsoft will be getting 750% increase in console sales, I imagine a lot of those will be refunded. And a lot of those customers will be like, okay, I just cocked up, my fault. But some of the customers will be like, do you know what? This is bullshit. Why have they made it so difficult? And they'll carry resent after that. And that sours the customer journey. So things like that could be the difference between someone being a fanboy of Xbox and a fanboy of PlayStation. Not that you need to be of either, but that could turn people to PlayStation going, okay, I don't want any of that bullshit. PlayStation is just 6 on the next one, so I'm going to get that one because it makes sense. Rather than, I mean, I don't want to go for the Series X. It'll be called something like Sequel X or something like that. Is it the sequel to the series, or is it the series sequel? I don't know. What the fuck? Does a series have sequels? I don't know. So yeah, it's daft. Anyway, let's jump back into the chat quickly because I did see that we had a bunch of people in there. I've not shouted out. Gagard as well. Thank you very much for being here this morning. Mrs. Danny Day, all of you guys shouting out the audio crackling. David as well. I'll read. Chucky. Good morning.
Morning, sir.
Any Scottish shirts? Says Gagard. I do maybe. I don't. Do you know? I don't think I've ever owned a Scottish football shirt.
I haven't. If I did, it'll be Rangers.
I was just about to say the exact same thing. Degnan's here, so I'm absolutely going to want a Rangers shirt, please. Thank you very much. Thank you. And Ads is here as well. So, yeah, those are both hoops.
Blue.
Got 5 different football shirts already this season, says Ads. One of them is Rangers. One of them is Rangers away. One of them is Rangers goalkeeper. Rangers third kit and Celtic. Obviously, that's how Ads rolls. I understand. I get you.
Bye.
Mr. T says, Joris Bonson. Hello, which I did see that a little bit earlier. So you may have heard some audio when Bibby started talking, because when Mr. T said Joris Bonson, I had to load this up. So let me.
Voted Remain. He said he thinks that everybody knew the law was being broken. You voted Remain. Leave. What do you think?
Just remember, I'm going to stop for a second. The Prime Minister is called Boris Johnson. Boris Johnson.
Of today's ruling.
I agree on
I have no idea what's
Joyce
going on
Bonson.
Let's go again.
Joyce Bonson.
Joris Bonson! Anyway, there we go. It's because Asim said Joris Bonson in the chat. For those that haven't seen the video, I had to go back and play that. I'm going to do it again. Listen, we'll just have the audio cue.
Agree on Joyce Bonson.
I love Joris Bonson. Anyway, sorry, I don't mean to laugh at individual people in the internet. You just, yeah, I'm gonna do it. Ad says Sega bought Microsoft. Sega bought by Microsoft. Also, apparently, Microsoft bought Luigi from Nintendo. What? Tito says I had a great experience trying to pre-order a Series X. Logged on at 7:45 to Game and Smiths. 8 a.m. Got in a queue for Game. Estimated 1 hour. Smith's not working. An hour passes. Get first in the queue at Game. Website down for maintenance. Later find out sold out anyway. Oh, heartbreak. Find out Smith's website was balked. Came back up at 4 p.m. Jumped in. Selected unit. Went through a finance agreement. Received confirmation of direct debit email. Smith's website out of stock. And now paying for a console I don't have. Absolute rage. Absolute rage. So you go through a finance agreement, you get basically not means tested, credit checked and everything. They go, yeah, this person's got enough good enough credit score to get into finance. Here's £400 worth of finance or whatever it is. Oh yeah, sorry, the thing you wanted's not there, but you've still got the finance agreement, so you owe us £400 now. That money that we've given you. Fuck. But Tito says I agree. The names are stupid. They are. I mean, obviously we're making a little bit of a meme out of it. But it is stupid. It is stupid. Absolutely. If they'd have just gone Xbox 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and we'd have had the S and the X versions, it would make sense. Understandably, they didn't want to do that, but that whole thing comes from. Has anyone in the chat seen The Boys? The new season's on Netflix at the moment. Also, one thing as well. Chucky gifting out a tier 1 sub. I did see that and then got distracted by Jory sponsors. Chucky, you absolute hero. Good morning, dude.
Hero. Also, Graham, I'm just going to point something out to you. I don't think you would have seen this, but Chucky has bought merch and posted it on Twitter as well.
Oof, oof. Okay.
Just going to drop it in the chat.
Yeah.
Absolute fucking legend.
Okay, here we go. Boom! There we go. Merch has finally arrived. New hoodie and mug. Ice Cream Uploads Grain Day. We've got them in your boom! There we go. Ice Cream Uploads hoodie and a mug. Do you know what? Even we don't have those. So that's how exclusive this stuff is. You absolute hero. Cheers, Chucky. Thank you very much for the support, and thank you very much for gifting. Where's it gone? Samaldo7, a sub. Samaldo, if you're in the chat, feel free to say thanks to Chucky because it's only nice. But yeah, has anyone seen The Boys on Netflix? That's what I was saying. It's all about superheroes, and without giving too much spoilers, the superheroes are all brand imaged. Nelson Samaldo, maybe. It's just been sold for 29 million. He needs all the quids he can get. He has to get a new house, a new car, and everything. So yeah. Yeah, anyway, all the superheroes have been brand managed, and it's all about we're up 3 points, we're down whatever points. This action doesn't resonate very well with the younger audiences and with the and you smell that whenever you talk about the Xbox brand advertising and brand positioning, it's just that. Okay, we could call it the Xbox 2, but studies have shown that the 2 will make us look inferior to the PlayStation, which is going to be on a PS3, and we don't want to seem to be inferior. So why don't we go for 360, which is a round thing, which is whatever. So it's literally just stats and marketing stuff. Okay, do we call the next Xbox console? So when we launched the Xbox 360, we had the Core and the Elite. Why didn't we just call it like Basic and Super? Because studies have shown that Basic, nobody wants to own anything Basic, so we'll call it Core. And Elite, that's a word that gamers use, and they'll relate to it. And studies have shown that we'll probably sell more of those, and we want to do that because it's more expensive. Oh, okay. So and then 10 years later, so we're sticking with Core and Elite. No, we're actually going to call it now S and X, because studies have shown that X resonates with us being the Xbox brand, and S has been used in, and it's literally those conversations. So they're not thinking about what's good to understand. It's stats, and studies have shown that youths or demographics that we're aiming at like this and they like that, and so they're appealing purely for sales reasons, not for understanding reasons. And understanding is sales. If you understand what you're buying, you're more likely to buy it. But they're clearly just crunching the numbers and forgetting UX and just going for raw sales data, and it's baffling. It's to be so happy to just sit on confusion. And build the whole brand around confusion. I mean, Chris String's point about when the one range of consoles has gone and we're just left with the series range of consoles, which is, once again, a horrendous statement for a sentence to say. When the one range has gone, but we're left with the series range. Okay, can you speak English, please? So when that has gone, it will make more sense. But imagine basing your marketing on, don't worry, it'll make sense in 2 to 3 years. Fuck, that's like half a generation. What the hell? So yeah, there you go. Not, it's daft. It's baffling. It's baffling. Speaking of the Xbox Series S and X and confusion, this isn't an article that we have scheduled in. It's just something that I still had open, so I'm going to bring it up on screen now. Eurogamer have tweeted this morning an apology, but not an apology, just more of a clarification. You may have seen some stories recently putting a price tag on the Xbox storage expansion card and citing Eurogamer as the source. This was down to an incorrect link in our Xbox Series X/S pre-order page yesterday that actually pointed to the Xbox Elite controller. The link was only online briefly and was swiftly corrected. There's never been a listing for the expansion card on the Smith's Toys website, and we have no information on what expansion cards might cost. So if you think there's prices for the Xbox storage stuff, it's not out there. So if it wasn't confusing enough already, we don't know what it's called. We don't know which ones to buy. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, fun times in Xbox land. I mean, once again, none of that matters when you get past it. When you get the console, it's all well and good. But why put a barrier for entry there? That barrier for entry could be the difference of you've just pre-ordered your console off Amazon and you're happy. Then you realised, fuck, I ordered the wrong one, so you're not happy. So you have to cancel it, but Amazon have gone, so it's already in shipping, so you have to wait until it arrives at your place, and then you can send it back. And at that point, you might not have another 450 quid in the bank, so you might have to wait to get that back, to get your money back, so you can buy the next one. And by that point, they've all sold out, and you have to wait to see get more drops going forward, and it just becomes a bit of a farce. Why create that barrier for entry? Just let people get the console, call it something clear, like Lockhart, like Scarlet, and go from there. That's easy. That's easy.
Buying the wrong console in terms of buying the least powerful version of the next gen console isn't the end of the world. However, buying the entire wrong console, that's a deal breaker. That is an absolute deal breaker. I can understand why people have done it, like we said. It's unless you know, do you know what I mean? I mean, by looking at the consoles, I would know, but in terms of the name, I still get confused all the time. And we work in this industry, do you know what I mean? That says probably a lot more about me than it does about the naming conventions of the consoles, but still, it is a bit of a shit show, and it's unfortunate that there is going to be a lot of people being unintentionally duped because of the naming conventions. But again, I still feel like someone needs to have the bollocks over at Xbox to be able to name their next console, whether it not be 7 years down the line, and just give it a proper name, not something that's like I don't know. What potential shit show could the next console have? Like,
it needs to be something ambiguous, like series.
It could just be Xbox something X. Will be the next conventional
iteration. That's what they call it. Xbox iteration. So the next iteration in the series is iteration.
It needs to be something ambiguous like that. But yeah, Xbox something X, just to rub the salt in the wounds a little bit more.
Yeah, 100%. But sticking with Xbox, something that isn't as infuriating. Well, maybe it is infuriating if you're a PlayStation fanboy. You'd maybe not want to see the green side of video games excel, but Andy Robinson for VG says Microsoft will consider buying more game studios in the future. That's according to the CEO. Content is the ingredient to our platform that we continue to invest in, adds Spencer. So Microsoft will consider buying even more game companies in the future following its $7.5 billion acquisition of Bethesda parent ZeniMax, its CEO has said. The huge acquisition deal was announced on Monday and sees Xbox increase its number of in-house development studios to 23, up from 15 prior. That was something I was going to mention yesterday, but because we had so much talk on, it just completely fell off the scale. Going from 15 studios to 23, that's like almost doubling. Well, or at least adding 50% anyway, which is huge. And it gives it control of hit franchises such as Fallout and The Elder Scrolls. Over the past 2 years, Xbox has aggressively grown its portfolio of first-party studios ahead of the release of Xbox Series X and S this November, as well as setting up the Initiative and a new Age of Empires studio. Xbox acquired Ninja Theory, Hellblade, Playground Games, Forza Horizon, Obsidian, Fallout New Vegas, In Exile, Wasteland 3, and Double Fine, Psychonauts. Speaking to CNET following the Bethesda deal announcement, Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella confirmed that Microsoft plans to run Bethesda as its own division with leadership and structure intact. Discussing its future ambitions for game expansion, he said, "We'll always look for places where there is that commonality of purpose, mission, and culture." He added, "You can't wake up one day and say, 'Let me build a game studio.' The idea of having content is so we can reach larger communities." Head of Xbox Phil Spencer said in the same interview, "Content is just the incredible ingredient to our platform that we continue to invest in. This doubles the size of our creative organization." Employing some 2,300 staff worldwide, Bethesda Softworks studios include Bethesda Game Studios, id Software, ZeniMax Online Studios, Arcane, Machine Games, Tango Gameworks, Alpha Dog, and Roundhouse Studios. They are the development teams responsible for franchises including The Elder Scrolls, Fallout, Wolfenstein, Doom, Dishonored, Prey, and Quake, among others. On Monday, id Software co-founder John Carmack welcomed the news and suggested it could see him once again work with a studio he co-founded. Xbox boss Phil Spencer said he will honour PS5 exclusivity agreements for Deathloop, Arcane Studios, and Ghostwire Tokyo, Tango Gameworks, while ZeniMax Online has claimed that Elder Scrolls Online will continue to be supported exactly as it was on current platforms. One thing in there as well, actually, which I did hear yesterday, but I haven't seen anything on it. Obsidian, who made Fallout New Vegas, was purchased by Xbox, and then what was it? Outer Wilds they made? Outer Worlds?
Yeah,
I can't remember.
Worlds.
Outer Worlds. That's it. There was a tweet or something yesterday. Someone said so now Xbox owns Obsidian and Fallout. Could we see Fallout New Vegas 2? And Obsidian apparently quote tweeted it with a "I don't know" emoji. So.
Did I send that to you?
No, I heard it. Maybe it was on Kind of Funny last night when I was driving home. But yeah,
right. Well, I've been on Twitter yesterday, and that was literally the first point that I was going to make here. I never put two and two together yesterday as we was reading this article. That excites me. I mean, when we was talking about this yesterday, I was kind of getting a bit stoked anyway. But obviously, Bethesda, the Xbox thing, I'm not going to own a new generation Xbox, but almost certainly will be having Xbox on my PC, so I'm able to play these games. So I was getting more and more excited about the prospect of that, being able to play these games still whilst on Game Pass for PC should they come, which I imagine they absolutely will come to Game Pass, because obviously I won't be getting the new console. But they're both of those being under the same banner again. I must have read the exact same article that you did yesterday, or you heard about, because as I was reading this, my eyes were starting to get wider and wider and wider. I was like, oh my god, this could potentially be happening. We could be getting maybe not a Fallout New Vegas 2, but something around that Fallout New Vegas world. Whether or not it's going to be a completely different story, I don't know. But that excites me greatly, and that's probably one of the biggest things to come out of, for me anyway, as a Fallout fan, one of the biggest things to come out of this partnership, getting both of those teams back under the same umbrella again. And maybe, I mean, obviously it's not going to be anytime soon, but can we see down the line when this partnership begins to start to blossom as of is April next year, April 2021, when it starts to...
I think it was July 21, so it was their tax year as opposed to our financial tax year kind of thing. So July 21, I think, is when it finishes, finalizes.
That would be amazing. Like, we just with the backing of Microsoft, they've got a lot more to be able to work with, and having 2,300 employees they're going to have under the same umbrella now. That is amazing. That is amazing. Like, especially this day and age now, where people are going to be potentially losing their jobs left, right, and centre. Securing 2,300 jobs in the video game industry is unbelievable. So for me, all around, it's a very good deal, especially for Microsoft. We said yesterday it was double the price of the Avengers that Disney bought. Like, this isn't pocket money. This is real deal shit. So yeah, all around, I still think it's a good deal, but it's even more of a deal now for me, being a Fallout fan, and obviously what we're going to see from the Elder Scrolls. I'm excited to see that where that leads down the line. But yeah, I mean, this is good news, I think.
I like the idea that they are keeping all 2,300 staff, because when you get a company bought like that, you kind of have to feel. I mean, things I was thinking yesterday is I was sat in the Bethesda E3 conference last year, and yesterday I was like, is that the last time that anyone is ever going to sit in a Bethesda E3 conference? Did I not know that I, at that time, was sat in the last ever Bethesda E3 conference? Because surely if Bethesda is owned by Xbox, why would Xbox pay for two conferences when they can just make the Xbox conference much beefier and better and have Fallout 77? No, that's not what it's going to be. I'm just saying that. Fallout 77, Elder Scrolls Part 72 or whatever it's going to be, all of those, that can happen in the Xbox conference.
It's a stronger show on paper.
100%.
Like you said, you sat there at the Bethesda conference, and then you'd have to wait for the Xbox conference. But if this is a 2.5, 3 hour show, and it's like wall to wall bangers, we go in new Doom, we go in new Elder Scrolls, new expansion pack for the Elder Scrolls Online, new Quake coming out. We're gonna have Fallout New Vegas 2. I mean, Jesus Christ. Like, if that isn't one of the best shows that you could potentially get at an E3 ever,
Yeah,
And then they
it's,
don't even want to be in the games industry
the
anymore, do you know
potential
what I mean?
just by adding Bethesda turns your show from being headliner with a strong opening message, variety content for families, for indie gamers, for a bit of mobile or VR or whatever, with a punchline in the middle and then a strong close. That's what you want from your E3 conference or any conference. If you can have like something at the beginning, something in the middle, and something at the end that is powerful, and then link everything up nicely to keep everyone entertained, that's what you want. Adding Bethesda into that basically changes your conference from being that to absolute wall-to-wall bangers. It's just boom message, mobile and family, boom message, a little bit of VR, boom message, and it's like nobody hits that big. Bethesda might give Fallout exclusively to PlayStation to feature in their conference. It's still coming to Xbox, but they'll give something to PlayStation. Then they might give Doom to Xbox, or they might shelve bits about, keep some things for themselves as well, so that they can spread their load. Have a little bit in PlayStation, have a little in Xbox, keep some bits for themselves. But Xbox are just going to be like, smash, smash, smash. The conference will be huge. But my worry was that 2,300 staff are being picked up. All these titles are being picked up. Are they just going to absorb it? Because the good thing with Xbox conferences is it becomes meatier. The bad thing is all of those people that are in charge of the production and the marketing and the content around the Bethesda segment at E3 and any other Bethesda segment, do they suddenly get absorbed? Does Bethesda's marketing team merge with Microsoft's marketing team? And actually, we've got people that do that already, so we don't need all of you guys. So we're going to get rid of some of you. Not all of you, but some of you. And I was thinking, does 2,300 staff suddenly become 1,700 staff? Do they lose 600 people along the way? But Microsoft coming out and saying, actually, no, because this is a fucking huge undertaking. Taking a company that size across that many different studios and trying to make them run in our way just wouldn't be something that we can do easily. So at least for the time being, 2,300 jobs are safe, which is good, which is very, very good. Not that they needed saving, but they've now been given extra resources and are secured, which is even better.
Yeah. I mean, how big would the building have to be? It's going to bring all 2,300. Right, we're going to relocate where to? This one giant building in the middle of LA or whatever.
just like the full convention center size building kind of thing. Jumping back into the chat, the one in Xbox One was meant to be to symbolize an all-in-one console, wasn't it? Which in itself was silly marketing. I mean, this you can make stuff like that fit anything. Like I think Battlefield 1 or whatever it was called, that was to symbolize like reinvention, the start of a new thing, going back to the roots, the one sort of stuff like that. And it's just like, okay, well, I could find a legitimate reason to call it Xbox Banana. It's just spin. It doesn't matter in terms of that. So I get what they're saying in terms of the all-in-one sort of stuff, but they could call it the Xbox Complete or the Xbox All In or whatever. So I mean, there's so many different confusing phrases, and then there's some that are just different. Like calling it a one is a number, and numbers exist in naming conventions. Calling it a series is a word, but a series is what people use to describe all of the consoles so far. PlayStation 1 to 4 is a series of consoles. The Xbox, Xbox 360, Xbox One is a series. So calling the next one series, it's just, they can justify wording in any way. It's just about how you spin it. But whether you could justify it doesn't necessarily mean you should have done it, kind of thing. I like the idea of calling it Xbox One. It's simple, but you on its own, without everything considered, it works. But with everything else around it, it's just you're adding daftness into the whole thing. David says, according to QI, there's a marketing thing called an idiot in a hurry, where in the example they used cola. The reason Coke cans are usually red, and by that it means like other Coke cans, like a roller cola or whatever. The reason those cans are usually red is to copy the Coca-Cola style. So if you're in a hurry, it's possible to pick up a lookalike without noticing it till it's too late. Exactly. The reason you will get we always take the piss when we're talking like knockoff brands. Like you'll get your Ben Sherman, and then you'll get Ben Sherbet, you'll get Reebok, and you'll get Reduc, and so on. I remember being on holiday at like Skegness Butlins, and then there was like a dodgy market stall that had like Ben Sherbert shirts and Reduc trainers and Abibas. It was Adidas but with B's instead of D's. So the reason it looks like it to fool people into buying it, to thinking it's the same thing. So yeah, that's kind of the thing. You'll get an idiot in a hurry sort of stuff, and it's almost like something like Xbox and Microsoft have an idiot in a hurry themselves. Usually other brands try to pick up off the idiots in a hurry. They've done it with themselves. Okay, you want our console? Yeah, well, buy any of them. They're all kind of the same. Oh, wait, but they're not. You've just spent 400 quid, so okay. Degner says, there's no downside to this for Microsoft. The naming was always going to be messed up with the 360. There was nowhere for them to go to fix it. I think the only way they can fix that now, the ideal is for something that's a series, and once again, that's a word I can't use because Microsoft have claimed it. For something that is a series, you either want sequential numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which they've broken. They can't do that now, unless they just jump back to a number and start on it. Or annual stuff. So you see it with football games. PES 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 2008, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. FIFA, similar sort of thing in terms of FIFA 97, 98, and then just going down to 17, 18, 19, so on. They're simplifying the numbers so that it can just be something sequential, which makes sense. Everything's all legit. Everything is easy to understand. It's fine. Xbox have shit on that. So the only way they can do it now is to have a naming sort of system, more like you'd have with the cars. You don't have cars that have sequential names. You have a different car because it's a different product. Ford have a Fiesta, and then they have a Mondeo or a Focus, or Mondeo doesn't exist anymore, but Focus does. So you buy the different car. If you want a Fiesta, that's the smaller, nippier car. The Focus is the same sort of thing, but a bit bigger and a bit beefier, and so on. That kind of thing. Xbox are going to have to pick words, which is fine, but pick words that aren't words that you're already using. The one. No, you've already had your number one console. Yes, one is fine. Oh, no, you don't want... Yeah, we've gone with one. Okay, what's your next one going to be called in the series? Series! No, what's the next one going to be called in the series? The series! No, it's not. The whole... Yes, series, we sold. And it's like, pick different words, not the ones that you're already using. There are literally all of the words that exist. Don't use the same ones again. It's like, what's the next one? What's the next Xbox going to be called? The controller. It's like, no, it's not. That's just no. Stop it. Why are you doing this? So yeah, they can get away from it. They just need to choose better, make better choices.
Graham.
Hello.
Looking at the time, how many are we to continue with all the rest of the stuff? Because we're like over time already. Like this is a problem at the moment. The news is too good. We need shitter news. We need fillers. We're having two. We put in like 4 or 5 topics, and we only get through 2 of them because it's too good at this moment in time.
Do you know what? Let's do. We will save that one. We'll save that one. We'll just jump to the rumor mill because obviously it's out there. People are talking about it. So you know, whilst because it's going to be absolutely shit all over before tomorrow. So we might as well talk about that one now. So we'll finish with one more news article then, rather than going through the other 2 that we have in the meantime. And the rumor mill, you may have seen it already. Is this rumor? This is from Push Square. Metal Gear Solid is getting a full remake, and it's a PS5 console exclusive. Tagline of tactical espionage action written by Robert Ramsey. Anyone want to drop a lol in the chat? No? Okay.
I'm actually just hearing the waves coming out of Asim at this moment in time. If this was true, I swear to God, he would be called the Mouse Maker. You know what I mean?
So here's the article. There's a doozy of a rumour for you. Metal Gear Solid, the PS1 classic, is being remade again, and it's coming to PS5 and PC. Let me just stop actually for a second there. Imagine if this was real now, after we've just absolutely ripped into that. How stupid do we look? Okay.
Is it?
So back into the article. This is according to YouTube channel Red Gaming Tech, which has been known to provide some accurate leaks in the past. Do you know what? If you look back at any channel always has some accurate leaks if you look hard enough or whatever you want. So
if you're right enough.
Yeah, exactly. So
it's like these footballing accounts that just tweet out all of the scores that could possibly happen,
and then delete
and then delete every single one that wasn't true.
Yeah, nailed it. Anyway, so still according to their source, a source that apparently has a 100% track record up to this point. Once again, let me just stop for a second. So we have a website that has been known to have some previous leaks in the past that has a source that has a 100% track record. Yet, no evidence is presented in this article. We just have to take their word for it that this is all legit. This sounds good. Nice. This supposed Metal Gear Solid revival is a full remake, not just some kind of port or remaster. The source also states that Metal Gear Solid 2, 3, and 4 are all being re-released, but it sounds like they're set to be remasters than full remakes. It's unclear whether they come to PS5 as well, or whether they're just targeting PC. I'm going to stop for just a second again. It's already widely known that Metal Gear Solid 4 is the difficult sticking point. It was designed for PS3, which had such an awkward infrastructure to build for. The reason that Metal Gear Solid 4 hasn't gone to any other platforms is because it's horrendously difficult to do that. And if we can't get all PS4 games on PS5, I'm not sure that we should be expecting a PS3 game that we couldn't even get on the PS4 on the PS5. I mean, what? I mean, once again, this is just, I don't know anything specific, but this is my input into it. Anyway, so back into the article. We don't know how far into development the Metal Gear Solid remake is. Not all. But its rumoured existence does tie into reports that we've heard elsewhere. For starters, we know that Sony has been flashing its cash to third-party publishers in order to lock down exclusive PS5 deals. Final Fantasy XVI is a perfect example of this. A remake of Metal Gear Solid, arguably the most beloved installment in a series synonymous with PlayStation, certainly fits the bill when you consider that Sony dished out serious dosh for timed exclusivity on a very similar project, Final Fantasy 7 remake. My God, I can't read. But is Konami really going to pump money into crafting a full-blown remake of Metal Gear Solid? Without a doubt, stranger things have happened, but the Japanese publisher is something of an enigma these days, which makes it an easy starting point for all kinds of rumours. You admit it right at the end. Remember Silent Hills on PS5? Question mark. Heck, maybe that's happening as well. And Konami's really getting back into the swing of things. Anyway, this is certainly one to keep an eye on. It is certainly one to keep an eye on because it gets clicks. That's what it does.
It's interesting that it started off with solid, this is going to happen, and then as the article goes on, it's kind of like, well, this is definitely one to keep your eye on because we're not sure what the hell's going to be happening. It's
yeah.
I mean, to be fair, I am absolutely in the camp of I would imagine what this game would look like with the Fox engine. It would blow my titties off.
Would it even be the Fox engine? Because Konami have already announced that PES has moved off the Fox engine onto Unreal Engine. So would if it was a thing, obviously, once again, just stoking the rumour mill fires, if it was a thing, would it even be Fox engine? You kind of have to feel that if some of their teams are already moving to Unreal because they see the benefits, could that be the case? I mean, would Unreal be good enough to do something? Not good enough. I mean, it's fucking exceptional. It can make The Mandalorian, so it clearly can make stuff that's cinematic. But
look through the comments at the bottom of that. I always love to read the comments at the bottom of these articles because they can either go one of two ways: absolutely just shit on everything, or be so hyped they're already off the chair, like they're not on the edge of their seats, they are stood up applauding.
If true, this would be freaky amazing. Bring back David Hayter. MGS isn't MGS without him. That would be amazing, and port Metal Gear Solid 4 to the PS5 while you're at it. I'm just kidding. That'll never happen. I wish, but I'll believe it when I see it. Imagine a full remake of Metal Gear Solid on the Fox engine with Metal Gear Solid 5 gameplay mechanics. I think I need to lie down. We need this in that. Oh, what's it? I always forget what it's called. That fan denial stuff. We need the fan denial voice. Like, imagine a full remake of Metal Gear Solid on the Fox engine with Metal Gear Solid 5 gameplay mechanics. I think I need to lie down. Like that sort of thing.
Explosion.
Yeah, exactly. Out of all games, Metal Gear Solid 4 truly needs a proper remaster. The game looks amazing on PS3, but there is a sense that it's not at its full potential. Playing it at 4K 60 FPS will be an amazing experience for this game. Ho ho! What the fuck? Why ho ho? Just add ho ho at the end. It's good finishing comment. I like it. But yeah, jumping back to the point of that, I've not even bothered adding or discussing now. Metal Gear Solid is getting a full remake, and it's a PS5 exclusive, says the rumor. Like we say, it start out referencing someone who's legitimate, and that someone is referencing someone else who's legitimate. So we're not even getting second-hand information. This is, at bare minimum, third-hand information, and that third hand has had to have had it from somewhere else. So fourth-hand information that has, based on a 100% track record along the way somewhere.
Well, I mean, we actually got Metal Gear Solid on the PlayStation 1 Classic, didn't we? So it's still in the forefront of someone's mind somewhere.
Yeah. Jumping back into the chat, Asim says, cry laughing emoji, cry laugh 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 emoji. He says, on a serious note, chats about such things happen, but that doesn't mean they always happen. I used to work there. Take that as you want. Anyway, yeah, Metal Gear Solid Remake is a pipe dream. So many blockers and baggage around the series. More likely to see something Silent Hill and Castlevania in the next 2 to 3 years. Something Metal Gear related would need a big shake-up at Konami. And that's the thing. There will have been conversations about new Metal Gears. Absolutely. That's not... Anyone that thinks that that's like a great sign needs to wake up and smell the calorie meter. That's a Metal Gear reference there, by the way. I know. I think so. Actually, I've done it, by the way. Yeah, whoever thinks that that's something bizarre needs to wake up and smell the coffee, because a company that owns Metal Gear talking about making a new Metal Gear, it's like, okay, we own this game, should we make another one? Yeah, we probably should. Should we do it right now? Actually, we've just got some other things to do. All right, nice. We'll have another meeting on that at some point in the future. That kind of stuff happens all the time. Should we make this? Yeah, okay, nice. Okay, well let's keep it in the pipeline. Let's talk about it at the next meeting. The next meeting could be 6 months away. It could be a year away. It could be, okay, well, this is something we want to do, but we have something else in the way. Let's keep the pin in it. Not as in we're going to talk about it in the next 3 weeks, the next 3 months, maybe not even the next 3 years, but there is potential plans for it. That stuff happens all the time. Anyone that isn't planning in some way, shape, or form for the future, even loosely, I mean, what are you even doing there? So there will have been conversations, and there could be conversations externally as well. Either started by PlayStation. It's possible that PlayStation could have gone, do you know what? We want Metal Gear. Do you fancy giving it to us? And Konami going, yeah, maybe. We'll talk about it in a bit. Or it could have been Konami going, do you know what, we're thinking about Metal Gear. We're very early. We're nowhere near greenlighting. We're just sounding out. Would you be interested in having it exclusively? Yeah, we'll love it. Nice. Just because those conversations might and possibly could have happened. Possibly, right, more than probably. Possibly could have happened. Doesn't necessarily mean that it will do. It could go, we're making a game. It's definitely going to happen. Do you want it exclusively on PlayStation? Yes, we absolutely definitely want it. Lovely. And then PlayStation go, actually, we don't have the money for it anymore. Until it's signed and announced, it's not happening. Just take it as that. And Konami could be like, yeah, we're definitely making it. But definitely is only definitely when it's greenlit. Definitely until that point still isn't definitely. So, yeah. One day in my autobiography, I will tell all. Exactly. It's...
If I don't get a signed hardback copy of that, then me and you are no longer friends.
Cumbrian Toffee, good morning. Oh,
Yeah.
there we go.
Is there an echo in here?
I'm out of the loop regarding PS5 pre-orders. When do you think they'll be available again? We were going to keep track of those, but then Bibby got one and he said, fuck the police. So we don't know, mate. I'm sorry. He just said basically everyone's for themselves now. It's just the way it is. I don't know. Sony did announce via a tweet the other day that they fucked up pre-orders, and they will add more. They said basically expect messaging from your retailers, and they will offer different ways for them to come out as well throughout the end of the year. So no wording yet, but keep your eyes on your retailers. That's the only thing. Stock Informer. Check Stock Informer. If you haven't, it's a website. You can sign up for alerts and you can get notified when Game or Walmart or whoever gets back in stock. If you can't be on Twitter all day looking for people going, because that does happen. If you can't be on Twitter all day, then something like Stock Informer is a good way of getting notified if you can't stick around. Salty Dog, good morning, says, need original games first on the PS5. Not one sports game on release, I see. Yeah, do you know what? That's something that I kind of...
Hey, you're on that, yeah.
You are?
You're still able to play this generation's ones for the remainder. Like, I think that the timing of sports games is always when the season starts, which is unfortunately when the consoles are going to be coming out. I think that's the difficulty, because you have to still... I think that's where Konami have gone with this year. Like, if they was to bring out this, they would have to bring out 2 games in that very small window, and it's already a very small window to churn out a new yearly cycled game anyway. And that, I imagine that is where the difficulty lies with both the likes of FIFA and Pro Evo, not to mention games like NBA and baseball or NHL or anything else that goes along with those American sports. It's a very small and difficult window to be able to get these out. So, yeah, it's I don't think it's a long time to wait. If I'm being perfectly honest, we ain't going to see absolute bangers on this console straight off the bat. Anyway, there's going to be very few games to be able to sink your teeth into. But in terms of sports games, I would give them a pass anyway. Because of the yearly cycle, you probably get 8 months, if that, to be able to turn around a game. Never mind trying to do 2 at the same time. We've talked about this with PES. I still believe it's the right thing to do. I know a lot of people was against it. Now the game has come out, they actually see that they've improved the game. It wasn't just a reskin of the game. They've actually done stuff to it, which we both said would be the case anyway. There was no way they were just going to re-release the same game with a roster update. They would have been fine-tuning. They still will be fine-tuning this game throughout the year. They're not just going to leave it to die for a year while they're working on the other one. But yeah, for in terms of sports games, I would have given them the pass this year anyway.
Yeah, I don't want sports games on the next year. No, I do want sports games, but I don't. I've conditioned myself to not want them because they're either not great and they're half games that don't have the full everything in it. So going from PES 5 on the PS2 to PES 6 on the Xbox 360, half a game, not nowhere near the same. I mean, beautiful in terms of graphics and the upgrades in there, but nothing there. Going from PES 2013 on the PS3 to PES 2014 on the PS4, half a game, not what I want. And the similar sort of things have happened with FIFA as well. It's not just exclusive to PES. It's you either get good gameplay and good graphics, but nothing else, or everything half done. So another point, I get what you're saying. We need to get the original stuff in before we start to look at remakes and remasters and things like that. I agree that there is needs for that, but there is still a lot that remakes and remasters can bring. Friday, for example, Mafia, the remake of Mafia 1 comes out. That is going to be a phenomenal game. So remakes and remasters can plug gaps. Not that a remake of that size is something that's any less of an adventure than creating another game from scratch. Yeah, you can save on the scripts and the audio and stuff like that. You can recycle a lot of that stuff, and you've got all the direction already there. But yeah, I kind of put sports games to bed knowing that it's the 12-month cycles anyway. So even if we get the PlayStations, let's forget November and let's say we get them at the end of the year, we have 9 months until we've got sports games back. And 4 to 5 months-ish, maybe 6, before we start getting the teasery stuff anyway. So anytime between April, May to June, you've got some information usually on what the next PES is going to be. Obviously, this is a bit different year, COVID year and switching generations and things like that. But we've had PES news as early as April in the past. So if they've had 18 months, 24 months to work on PES 2022... then yeah, maybe we start seeing news early. Maybe we don't. Either we see it early, or we'll probably get something around E3-ish time, if that exists next year. So yeah, no sports games, but it's fine. We'll get good ones next year. So it's okay. And I think we're about to wrap things up. Although just before we do, one thing to bring up, sticking with the Metal Gear rumors. This is where I think it's come from. So this is a tweet regarding TGS 2020, which starts in 5 days. So it gives you a list of the announcements and things that are going to come. So camera game, DMM games. Obviously, I don't actually know what language this is. I'm assuming this is Japanese. I'll translate it from Japanese. There we go. So this tweet is in Japanese, and there's a few things that you can pick out of there. And one of them is Konami. So there's 2 separate Konami announcements. One on Saturday, one on Sunday. Say announcements, 2 Konami slots. So people have seen those slots and started to put rumours together, get column inch exposure, and I imagine that's where it's come from. So don't know if you can see my mouse. No, you can't, not yet. There we go. So there's a Konami slot there, 7 p.m. on the Saturday, and the Konami slot there, 4 p.m. on the Sunday. I imagine there's going to be rumours in there. Do you know what? Just by looking at slots, I'm going to make a rumour as well, because there's a 2-hour slot at the end of Sunday. So that's when PUBG 2 is going to be announced, because that PUBG slot is for PUBG 2. Confirmed, you've heard it here first. I heard it from my source, Bib, who has a 100% track record of being called Bib. So I can say that is 100% definitely going to happen. You've heard it here first. PUBG 2 to be announced on Sunday. Watch. I have a track record at saying things that have been proven to be true at some point in the past. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, let's wrap things up. We are going to disappear. Just before we do, jump in, let's finish off the comments. I think BBC's Click said there were going to be 2 waves. One that's just been, and then one around mid-October for PS5. Yeah, they are continuously being manufactured as well at this sort of point, so you will probably get maybe even more than 2 waves. If we've had one in September and then one in October, you kind of feel there would be another one in November as well, alongside the launch kind of period there, or just after, and then maybe another one before Christmas as well. So there will still be a lot of people that want it before Christmas. Obviously less opportunity pre-launch, but there should be more PS5s coming. Ad says they haven't improved the game, it's all placebo. They definitely have. But yeah, whether it's enough for some people, I mean, I've seen a lot of people saying don't change the game, which I kind of wanted to screenshot and like keep a hold of all those messages. People going, whatever you do, official PES, do not change this game. It's perfect. And I've seen loads of people saying that. I'm thinking, I want to keep hold of that shit for like 3 weeks' time when people go, change the game. But anyway, that's a whole different pitfall to get stuck in. Let's leave that behind. We are going to finish things up because we have an episode of Masters of the League. Speaking of PES, if you want to see some PES content, we're going to be live on this channel right now playing some PES modded Master League on PC. It is PES 2020, but it's basically PES 2021. That's how modded to the tits it is with us. So if you want to see us play through that, then feel free to stick around this channel. We are the managers of Ice Cream Uploads Football Club, ICUFC, and we'll be live from the ICU arena in about 10 to 15 minutes from wrapping this up. We'll change over, get the green screens and everything in place, and then you can see us and join us at the arena and the Man House. Yeah, stick around. But before we do that, Mr. Bibb.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you'd like to add?
Yes, there is. If you do see any video games that you want to get featured on the next episode of The Scoop, there's 2 ways you can do that. First of all, find us socially at Ice Cream Uploads. We're available on all major social media platforms. The second thing, join our Discord. There is a little area in there called The Scoop. All you need to do is drop in the link, your thoughts and impressions. We will then give our thoughts and impressions in the very next show, which will be at what time tomorrow, Mr. Graham Day?
10 a.m. Ish. Just loading up the chat bot because I restarted my PC because my PUBG was being a massive penis yesterday. Socials. Whoop. Oh, fuck. I didn't even need to restart my chat bot because the studio's alive. Everything's in there twice. Okay, 1,000 links if you want to follow us on social media there in the chat. One thing I didn't click on, though, was that Drink Relax Play, the loading bar link that you sent. Oh, there we go. Let's load this up. Just share it with the chat. Games Media. Rumours of a PS5 Metal Gear Solid remake. Steph. Please don't set him off. Me. Did I ever mention that time we used 2100 shot glasses to make a giant snake? Hey! GG. But yeah, that's it. We are back in about 10. If you want notifications when we do go live, just stick around. If not, follow us and you'll get notified on your phone and wherever. That's a good way to do it. So then we are going to disappear. Have yourselves a fantastic day. We'll see you back in 10 minutes. Thursday. I was thinking, did they hear that? And I looked to my side and I saw Bibby doing the dot. You gotta taste them. Stay frosty.